Hey there, music fans. This is Peter Sco from Music is a Journey, and this is a really weird situation. I have only gotten partway through editing the video that I recorded last night, and yet here I am recording another video. So this is a video for a thread, or a challenge anyway, posted by Racer Records over in Regina, Saskatchewan. He's quite new to YouTube, at least as a channel. I believe he just appeared sometime around the turn of the year, maybe late last year. I heard about him because I think it was Vinyl Spiral, Mike's Vinyl Spiral did a video for this challenge here, naming 10 bands from where you live. And so I thought, I'd like to do it, but I think I'm too busy to do it. And then I watched the original one from Racer Records video, and I thought, yeah, I'd really like to do it, but I'm kind of busy. And then I watched two other ones, and I thought, okay, no, that's it. I'm going to do it. If I have a chance, I will do it. So who knows? This video might actually be easier to edit, and it'll come out first, or maybe the other one I was doing, I might decide just to go ahead and post that one. Whatever. You won't know the difference. You'll just see however they appear. Anyway, I'm having a bit of a cluttered mess here today, more than usual, because I just took photos back down from a cafe gallery. I had an exhibition there for the last couple of weeks and sold a print and some books and greeting cards and so forth. So I had to go pick them up. And I've just put all the bags and boxes of framed photos all around here somewhere. So the floor is a mess. Need to take care of that tomorrow. Not that you care. But on the way back, I had a nice little stop, actually. I drove past a small canyon area, which I did notice in the summer when I was there last time, and I took a quick peek. But this time, it's winter, so there's a lot less vegetation, and I actually explored a little bit further in this time. It is apparently there used to be a path going to an observation deck, but the path is grown over. The railing along the edge of the canyon is missing in places, and the observation deck looks terrible. Wouldn't trust anyone to go up there. So anyway, I just kind of scrambled over the rocks and climbed through the vegetation and found a really nice spot. And I think I'm going to have to go back there with, well, actually this camera, which is the Canon 6D, and do some serious photography there. Perhaps, gee, it's my birthday coming up and it's a holiday. I might be able to go then. Well, anyway, here's a couple of photos from that spot. So I really like this type of thing. Here in Saitama, Japan, where I live, out on the west side, we have lots of mountains and lots of these beautiful ravines and canyons and all sorts of interesting rocks. Some of them are ancient marine rocks from way, way back, and some of them are a little bit more recent, like from Triassic and Cretaceous times. But anyway, lots of fun stuff to explore in Saitama if you like geology. And outdoor photography, nature photography. But anyway, back to the show. So the thread is to do a video of 10 bands from where you live. Now, it doesn't have to be the city where you live. Although I think if you're from, well, a lot of English cities or some of the bigger American cities, or heck with it, even some of the bigger Canadian ones or Japanese ones, it's probably no problem to make a list of 10 bands or artists. But if you're from a city that doesn't have such a big population or, you know, a big rich history of groups and bands and musicians and singers and so forth, maybe it's a little more difficult. So Racer Mike is from Regina, Saskatchewan. And I know a band or two from Regina, Saskatchewan, but he decided to go with all artists from Saskatchewan, the province of Saskatchewan. And that was cool to hear because there were 3 that I didn't know about, but then there are some that I know about that he didn't mention. So yeah, that was really cool. Anyway, I've heard some people doing like the entire province. I think one person just did Canadian bands altogether, which I thought might be a little bit too broadly scoped. I mean, I could do bands from Japan, but I think I've already done a video like that. If we're going to just take a look at, well, okay, I live in Kumagaya City. I don't know about any music or artists from here. I do know from a nearby city called Kawagoe, about an hour's drive from here, there is a band called Gotsutotsukotsu. This is a technical death metal band. They've got 3 albums out so far. I have their second one. It's pretty cool. I like it. I'm not sure if I need to get all of them, but yeah, this is all right. It's cool to know that they're from Saitama anyway. But yeah, since I can, I'm not going to do all of Japan or anything like that. So instead, I decided to pick the Greater Vancouver Area because that's where I grew up. And I know a lot of bands from the Greater Vancouver Area. So I've made a selection here. I'm just going to walk through and talk about them. So let's see here. First up, I'm going to pick Trooper, whom you may have heard of for Raise a Little Hell, Raise a Little Hell, Raise a Little Hell. And here they come, the boys in the bright white sports car, plus a few others. This one here, we're here for a good time, not a long time. So yeah, Trooper, 2 for the show, their second album, Knock 'em Dead, I think that was their third. The fourth one I really wanted to get. What's it called? Thick as Thieves, and I wasn't able to get it, so I had to get this Hits from 10 Albums Trooper, which covers even a couple of the from their first album, which is just, I don't think there is a CD available. But pretty cool stuff. And Trooper are basically from Vancouver. They're said to be from Vancouver, but the lead vocalist, Ray McGuire, is actually from the South Surrey White Rock area. So my hometown, where I spent 24 years of my life, from age 4 to age 28, is Surrey, British Columbia. And he's from the South Surrey White Rock area. White Rock is actually a separate city, independent of Surrey, but a lot of people in the South Surrey area don't like to be associated with Surrey because North Surrey has had some trouble over the decades. We had a Hells Angels headquarters there in the 70s, and there were a lot of, like, I remember a house not too far, like across the main street from my neighborhood, there was a police raid there with drugs and weapons and all sorts of things. Surrey also borders the United States, and some years back, the police on both sides of the border raided houses on both sides of the border because there was an underground tunnel for, getting drugs across the border. And more recently, we've had all sorts of immigrant, I'm not going to say what country, but immigrant family young folk gangs there with more shootings and drugs. So Surrey doesn't have the cleanest of reputations, unfortunately, although it is a beautiful place with lots of countryside, some rivers, lots of parks. It's so big. It's the second largest city in Canada surface area wise. So but I'm rambling on. So Ray McGuire from Trooper was from Surrey. So who else is from Surrey, British Columbia? Well, I can actually tell you a couple of other ones. One was a band called No Fun. I don't know if they ever actually got anywhere, but 2 of the members worked in the record store on the first floor of the office building where my father had his life insurance business for many years. So I bought a few records from them. I bought a Yardbirds album from that store. Anyway, so that was a band called No Fun. And there's also an opera singer who was actually born in Turkey of Armenian heritage, who moved to Surrey when she was 10 years old and then spent, I don't know, about the next 10 years or so of her life growing up in Surrey. And her name is Aline Kutan. She is a coloratura soprano, and I've heard her perform live. She is fantastic. I've never imagined that a human voice could hit such high notes and so powerfully. And the reason why I know her is because I used to date her sister. Aline is really cool. I really liked her. She was a really fun person. But anyway, let's also mention Chris Gestrin, this is Chris Gestrin Trio and Chris Gestrin Quartet. Chris is basically a jazz pianist. However, he does play a variety of different styles of music. He is also a producer. He has his own recording studio. He guested on a Nickelback album. He played on a Randy Bachman album. He has done some movie soundtracks, lots and lots of different stuff. And I should put the link in here. I interviewed Chris because he is my friend. We grew up together. Like his street was 2 streets away from mine, so we went to the same school and we played together a lot. And last time I went back to Canada, which was 2019, yeah, I visited Chris and got to meet his parents again for the first time in a long time. So that's Chris Gestrin from Surrey, British Columbia, currently residing in Coquitlam. Okay. We have a map going here. I think I should have a map going. Here is a map of the Lower Mainland, or the Greater Vancouver Area. And here is Surrey. And down here you can see this is White Rock. So I think we've talked about Surrey and White Rock so far. So to the west of Surrey there is a place called Delta. and there was a band from Delta called 5440. I think they were kind of a reggae type band. Were they a reggae band? I might be getting them confused with UB40, you know that? I don't remember. But anyway, we had a band from Delta called 5440, and I believe they won a Juno Award at one time. Also, Jerry Doucette, whom I talked about before, who's actually from Ontario, lived in Delta for a while. And I checked Wikipedia not that long ago, like a couple hours ago. There was another famous band from Delta, and I can't remember who it is now. Theory of a Dead Man. That's right. Theory of a Dead Man are actually from North Delta, which is right bordering up to Surrey as well. But to the east of Surrey is a municipality called Langley. And this band here, La Chinga, are said to be based out of Vancouver. However, I seem to remember reading somewhere that they were originally from Langley. Now, they've got 4 albums out. This is the most recent one, Primal Forces, from last fall. And I did a video. Did I do a video of just La Chinga, or did I talk about La Chinga and some other bands? I don't remember. But a few videos back now, probably October, November, I did a video where I certainly talked about La Chinga's 4 albums, and with permission from the band, and permission from their record label here, Ripple Music, I played a sample of music from each of the albums. So La Chinga, probably Vancouver, but I think I heard they are from Langley. Anyway, very cool, hard rock, 70s based hard rock band. Okay, so here's another one. Way out in the valley, as we call it, the Fraser Valley, there is a municipality? Not sure what it is anymore. I haven't lived there since 1999, so I don't know what's changed. But anyway, there's a place out there called Mission. It's called Mission because there's an abbey out there from way back when. Anyway, Mission produced 2 gentlemen who are members of a band called Ancients, who are a Vancouver-based band. You can check all over the place. It'll say that Ancients are a Vancouver band, Vancouver-based band. But I remember hearing something about Mission, and so I checked, and yes, 2 of the members are from Mission, British Columbia. So this is Heart of Oak. This album was nominated for a Juno Award, but lost to Protest the Heroes' Volition. However, their 2016 album, Voice of the Void, won the Juno for Best Album in, was it 2018? I'm actually going to have to do a video on Juno Awards because the Juno Awards have a separate category for hard rock and heavy metal. So, there's quite a few albums that I have, or nominated albums that I have, so I'll be doing a video about that in a little bit. Anyway, so there we have it, Ancients, and the 3rd album is coming out this year. Man, they've been talking about it for months. It's recorded, it's being mixed, and the last I heard is it's coming out later this year. Oh, and what do Ancients sound like? Well, they are a progressive metal band that have elements of sludge and what else do they have? Kind of death metal type vocals, but also clean vocals. There's a bit of psychedelia mixed in as well. A lot of stuff, but you have to like it really loud and extreme if you want to get into Ancients. Okay, so next band is actually from Vancouver, but they call themselves Chilliwack, and Chilliwack is the municipality that is way out at the end of the valley. Here's a map. Let's take a look at the map. There's Chilliwack. All right. Now a lot of people are, Chilliwack, what a funny name, huh? What is it? Oh, it sounds dirty. Huh? Okay, well actually Chilliwack is a First Nations people word, and honestly at the moment I can't remember what it means, but it has something to do about the rivers, because the rivers flow out of the mountains and the Fraser Valley begins there. So there's something to do with rivers in the meaning of the word Chilliwack. So before we start making fun of it, it's a First Nations people word. Show some respect. Okay, so Chilliwack, right. This is actually their 2nd album, Chilliwack, and their 2nd album under the name of Chilliwack. How does that work? They used to be called The Collectors, had a couple of albums in the late 60s, and this was quite experimental. Some country rock and some really weird stuff on side 2. It's a double disc. The 2nd disc was Claps and Chants, Whistle, Flute, Pads, Antiphony, Traveling Music, Sleep Music. The first disc is pretty good. Okay. Let's see here. That was their second. I think their third album was called All Over You. What do they have here? What's that? My favorite title on this one here. It is called CS Man, which stands for Chicken Shit Man. Okay. After that, they had an album called, actually this one here, Riding High, which is actually one of my favorites. This is the most accessible for me as a slightly progressive hard rock album that is not too hard, but still carrying some of their progressive elements. They have one called Rocker Box, which has never been released on CD, which sounds pretty good. And, wait a minute, something's missing. Couple of Chilliwack albums are not here. I wonder where I put them. Fly at Night is probably one of their best known ones. And then this album here, Chilliwack. This is the album, what is it called here? Wanna Be a Star. This is the album that had the gone, 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 she been gone so long, she been gone, gone, gone so long. You know that song? My girl, she was the world to me. Anyway, that one is on this one. Pretty cool band. Not exactly to my taste most of the time, but so far every album has a couple of songs that I really quite like. Okay, so again, look at the map. All right, there's Vancouver, and over here's a place called Richmond. And Richmond is very flat. In fact, it is, I think, slightly below sea level. So after heavy rains, you can expect a lot of water everywhere. Also, this is where the Vancouver International Airport is. And, if I remember correctly, it is also where this band is from. Hocus Pick Maneuver. Later on just known as Hocus Pick. This was their second album, I think. I had their first one, but it was really amateurish. They got better by the second one. So this one here, Pick It Up. They have a lot of humor in their music, which is really cool. And then for Brothers from Different Mothers, their third album, man, they really got professional. I think they were kind of independent still up to here, but what did they sign to? They signed to Vision Records. They are a Christian band. I really like this one. I mean, I'm not so keen on all the, you know, hey, Jesus kind of stuff. I was at the time when I got into them, but the music on this is really, really good. They really stepped up their game quite rapidly from the debut to this one Big leaps, I'm telling you. But after that, they did some like a kids song album, Kids Praise or something, and Kids Camp and Kids... They're a zany band. They have this one song. Okay, the one song from here is called... Sofa Logic, and there's a video for it, and it was filmed around Simon Fraser University and Burnaby Mountain. Okay, so that's Hocus Pick Maneuver, whom I seem to remember are from Richmond, British Columbia. How many have I actually showed? I don't remember now. So now we're actually going to go to a band that, as far as I know, is from Vancouver. This is Spell, the Full Moon Sessions. Their first album, pretty much a traditional heavy metal album. And the second one, For None and All, which is one of the most recent ones I got, and I think it is still traditional heavy metal, but starting to move in a different direction. And this one here, Opulent Decay, I love this one. This is really getting into something very different now. Still falling under the heavy metal banner, but not really sounding a lot like it. It's quite cool. I really like that one. And then losing a member and just keeping the two brothers, they came out with Tragic Magic. Was it 2022? I think it was. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, but anyway, that Spell. I quite like them. Nice stuff there. So I think that's 7 because I know the last 3 I'm going to show. Got a case. And in this case, I have a band from North Vancouver. Which one shall I take out? How about this one here? This is Spirit of the West, Save This House. Probably their most well-known album. They started out as a folk trio, 3 guys doing mostly Celtic-based music, but they slowly evolved into an alternative rock folk fusion type band. One of the original members left. They brought in another guy. Then they brought in a woman who could play bass and accordion, and then they brought in a guy on drums, and they have a really interesting catalog. This is Go Figure, and the album that just about got them into the US, Spirit of the West. There was I went to a concert for this. There was somebody from an American record label there, and there was all sorts of talk about they were going to release that album Faith Lift in the US. Not really sure whatever happened with that. The singer John Mann also became an actor. He appeared in the Battlestar Galactica reboot series, but unfortunately he died of cancer a couple of years back. Okay, so that's from North Vancouver, and then we're going to head over to Coquitlam, and we're going to check out, where am I start? I got to start from the front here. So first of all, the Matthew Good Band, Last of the Ghetto Astronauts, the debut album, and the EP Ray Gun. What else have we got here? Underdogs. This had a song called Apparitions, which became the kind of big hit for the band. And then Beautiful Midnight. This is a fantastic album. And they did one more album as the Matthew Good Band, and that is The Audio of Being. Also a really terrific album there. So what a cool band. But Matthew Good decided he was going to go off on his own, and he became a solo artist. So there's Avalanche, the first album, which I really like because of, I think, 4 or 5 songs are just so fantastic. So really love that one. Follow-up album was Rock and Roll Review. I haven't talked about Matthew Good very much on this channel, so that's why I'm showing him off a lot now. Also liked a lot of the songs on this one here. Then a very strange one, Hospital Music. So apparently he has bipolar disorder, and he also went through a divorce and had something about cocaine addiction. So Hospital Music is a really hard album about getting over the divorce and getting over the cocaine addiction. And then he did one called Vancouver. I think this actually might have won a Juno Award. I haven't heard it, like, really gotten into that one. And then he's got about 4 or 5 since then. One of them was Arrows of Desire, which I picked up a couple of years ago to hear how he sounded these days. But I do actually prefer everything up to Hospital Music because I'm familiar with those albums and I know the songs that I really like. I probably have to go back and listen a bit more. Or he's just, to me, not as creative musically. Maybe lyrically probably is, because he's a really bizarre songwriter in many ways. But that's Matthew Good and Matthew Good Band. And then I'm sure we're up to 9, because the last artist I'm going to mention is Devin Townsend. Strapping young lad, Devin Townsend Band, Devin Townsend Project, and for that matter, Casualties of Cool is also in here. Joni Mitchell sang about a case of you. I have a case of Devin Townsend. I do not have his latest albums, Empath and the more recent one. I don't have those 2 yet, just because I was really, really into Devin Townsend a little while back. And I am going to do a video about him later this year. Devin Townsend, by the way, currently living in Maple Ridge. Oh, where's the map? Okay, as far as I know, he's currently living in Maple Ridge. Not sure, that's the last I heard, which was a few years ago. But he was born and grew up in New Westminster. Here's the map. Here's my hometown, Surrey. Here's where I grew up. The view from my living room window looked across the river to New Westminster. That's where Devin grew up. We are about 1 year and 3 months apart in age. So Devin Townsend, I feel I have kind of a connection with him because we grew up in the same area during the same time. So part of the same social, political, cultural climate. Yeah, when I heard he was from that area, I thought, okay, I've got to check out this guy because he's as close as I know to a homegrown person who is really close to me in that way. So this is, yeah, my Devin Townsend collection. A case of Devin Townsend right there, all that stuff. But I will be talking about these a little bit later on in the year. I need some money to get those other 2 albums, and I got a lot of research to be doing for that. Okay, so as usual, I'm sure my video has gone way over the mark of everyone else's. I watched one guy who did a video in 6 minutes. Yeah, anyway, that's it. That's my contribution to the Racer Records vinyl channel and homegrown bands. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. I don't know which video you're going to see first, this one or the other one, but I hope to see your comments in both of them. Take care everyone, have a good night. Or a good week, or whatever time it is. Just whatever comes after the time you watch this, have a good one. Bye.